the King and for some of the other sort of public speakers who are dead scared of ever mentioning the M word, right? And the M word, of course, is Muslim. Let's talk to Andrew Gilligan now, Senior Fellow at the Policy Exchange and author of a report into an organisation called the Centre for Media Monitoring, which, of course, is a part of the Muslim Council of Britain. Andrew, very good morning to you.
Morning.
We seem to still have a kind of fear of Islam, which some people might call Islamophobia, but it's not the way that they think it is. This is the way that people in public don't want to mention it. King Charles yesterday talking about, we mustn't let people divide us in the nation. Keir Starmer, we must not let the divisive people win. Not one mention of the fact that we actually were blown up by some pretty nasty people who happen to be Muslims.
That's right. I remember a press conference given by Brian Paddock, who was the deputy commissioner or something at the time on the day.
Yeah.
And his first line, more or less, was, we've got to stop people. We've got to make sure the Muslim population is safe. And of course, that's right. But at the same time, I remember a lot of people thinking, hold on, what about, the people that were attacked?
What about the rest of us? Yeah.
What about them being safe? And I think so. This body I've written about this morning, the Centre for Media Monitoring, is one of the reasons actually that people in authority are a bit frightened of talking about this, because part of its job is to basically attack people for Islamophobia, for saying perfectly true and reasonable and sensible things about Islamism, about the terror threat that faces us. So, for instance, they say the British media is routinely Islamophobic, and 60% of articles about Muslims are negative. And actually, it turns out that they count sort of accurate factual accounts of terror attacks in that 60%. And the top three offenders, they call it, are the three main international news wires like Reuters, AP, and the AFP, which are basically about as far from the stereotype of horrible right-wing tabloids as you could get. And it's that level of name calling and intimidation that these guys that these guys have succeeded to some extent in cowing the political debate about.
Yeah, because they're basically all about trying to stop people from saying things, aren't they? And from sort of preventing free speech. They want to impose what they call appropriate limits to free speech, which is not free speech, is it?
That's the people behind the Islamophobia definition and the old Party Parliamentary Group of British Muslims, and these guys also support that definition. And if that happened, and I think it's very likely to happen because the government's working one up at the moment, then if that happens, that's a pretty dangerous weapon, a new weapon in the hands of these folk. Because their view is basically that the media shouldn't be allowed to say anything negative about Muslims.
Yeah, or anything that they don't like, effectively, as well, right?
That's right. I mean, even if it is like this was an Islamist terror attack, that in their book counts as bias and Islamophobia, and that's the danger of it. And all sorts of they've got a glossary on their website which contains amazingly kind of loaded and slanted interpretations of common terms. That said you shouldn't use the word Islamist at all. You shouldn't use the word Muslim extremist because it's Islamophobic. And I think that's the kind of thing we're up against here. And at the moment, so they've got a bit of power. They've got some. They've had meetings with people at the BBC. People at the BBC have come to speak at their events. People in the press have as well. They've done a bit of training for journalists by the looks of it. They've got some power, but they've been handed a great deal more power by this new Islamophobia definition.
Right. And they've actually sent us a statement, believe it or not, which kind of confirms everything you're saying, which basically says this. This report is nothing but a politically motivated hit job, riddled with inaccuracies, distortions and smears. It comes from an organisation that has long sought to influence our media into negatively framing British Muslims. So there you have it.
I was quite pleased with that statement, to be honest. It's so barking, it makes them, it kind of proves a point, like you said.
Right,
Actually, one of the other things they did, amazingly seedy thing to do, I thought, was last night, or sometime yesterday, after the report had already been sent round to kind of journalists as an advance copy, they changed their website to claim that they weren't any longer part of the Muslim Council of Britain. But unfortunately, they only changed one page and they forgot to change all the others, including their Twitter feed. And I just, that signifies their kind of bad faith and their ineptitude as well, actually.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, I mean, it's a stalemate, effectively, isn't it? I mean, they'll continue to row about you and complain about you, and you'll continue to point out what you're pointing out, and then we'll end up sort of just going round and round in circles, presumably.
Well, I think we've got the facts on our side. I mean, obviously, our report's not a political hit job. It's it's a very measured, considered assemblage of all the evidence. It's got, the vast majority of what it says is based on things they've said themselves, and there are footnotes in every case to their own documents. So I invite anyone to compare us and them, and I think we come out all right.
Okay. Andrew, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Andrew Gilligan there.